Depends on what you're dipping it in.
Okay. I've grown away from dipping everything in ranch.
Mm. What is up, everybody? We are but 2 days away from the NFL draft. We've been super excited for it.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let me tell you guys that we have been talking different strategies for different teams throughout this entire last month.
Yes.
Whether it's Travis Hunter here, Travis Hunter there, Shadur Sanders here, Shadur Sanders there. Guys, tune in today. This is our final mock draft. We've got the picks of where we think everyone is going to go for Thursday. Tune in here. Welcome to the Wombo Combo Show.
What's up, guys?
What it up? What up?
Hope everyone had a good Easter.
It was a great Easter for me. I ate a bunch of food. Let's see how these teams are going to feast in this draft here, buddy.
Feast or famine time.
It is feast or famine time for April after you got your ham in. But, guys, with our first pick, I think that with the Titans, we've talked about this over mock drafts 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. It hasn't changed at all, anybody. Cam Ward is going to the Titans.
Yeah.
There isn't like, well, what if? There isn't.
That's lock set in stone. Next pick.
Yeah, that's basically before we move on to it, this is exactly like Caleb Williams to the Bears last year. There is no there isn't anything. There is nothing that they could take that would be a better selection for this team moving forward for the future.
No, I can't think of one.
You can't run. You can't run with Will Levis this year. The project is over.
No,
right?
That's done.
Absolutely. So
they need a quarterback.
Titans, Cam Ward, locked in stone, guys. Coming up at the second pick, our rival team is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. This is the Browns.
Is it a rival, though?
Yeah, it's who tries to be a rival. We'll put it that way.
I know.
Now we got some hot stuff coming for you on the Browns here today. But first off, with that second pick, it's kind of been: is it Abdul Carter?
Yeah.
Is it Travis Hunter? Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have decided there is no question on this either. It's Travis Hunter, guys. Travis Hunter, I think, is 100% a Brown. I think with his decision to work on both sides of the field and not play if he doesn't play both sides of the field, the Browns seem like the team that could use a player on both sides of the field at cornerback and also.
I mean, they need someone. They need a star athlete.
They need a star athlete.
Other than Myles Garrett, who, in my opinion, is overrated. Anyways, but no, I mean, it's a smart pick to go get Travis Hunter. 100%. Have him play offense and defense. I mean, I think they're one of the teams that will enable him to do so.
Yeah,
as well. If they don't, I think he'll be able to do the same thing with the Giants if he does fall to 3. But Browns take him at 2.
Yeah, I think the Browns definitely take him at 2. The only other option would be potentially maybe Abdul Carter, but in this situation, I think that it is just best for the Cleveland Browns to go this route with the most athletic player in the draft.
Yes, sir.
You'll see why we definitely want him to go to the Browns here coming up later in the show. So let's hop into the third pick, Ben. Third pick. This is Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
This is the Giants getting a guy to go on the opposite side of potentially Burns. Now, they do have Kayvon Thibodeau there, but you could pull him up in maybe a different line position or linebacker position.
He hasn't really lived up to his hype.
100%. He could be a trade.
Since he's been drafted.
He could be a trade candidate because he is on the last year of his contract as well.
Yes.
So
they still have Dexter Lawrence, right?
They do have Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah,
so
they got someone up. They got someone who can come up the middle. They'll draft Abdul Carter who can come off the edge,
and then Burns on the other side.
Yes, sir.
That would be a stellar defensive line for the Giants. That's why we have him going that route, guys. So with the third pick, the Giants will be taking Abdul Carter on Thursday. That is the Wombo Combo shot on that one. Ben, why don't you take the fourth pick here coming up for the Patriots?
Yeah, so at 4, the Patriots will take Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU. Though they're going to beef up that offensive line. They're going to get the best tackle in this draft to help protect Drake May and just keep that offense rolling.
100%. Drake May needs to be protected. Now they got wide receivers like Stephon Diggs on the team for him to throw to.
Yes.
Adding Will Campbell would be the best option there. Now, we did talk about this, Ben, you and I, before we move on to the next pick. that if any of those guys in the 2 and 3 spots, if they move out somehow, like the Giants were to take Shadur Sanders for some reason, I do think that the New England Patriots will take a different player. They'll take Abdul or they'll take Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
If that guy falls,
If.
because you don't play around with the 4th pick. The 4th pick in the draft, if the best available athlete is still there, you're going to take him. In our mock situation, though, we're not playing with any dumb decisions.
Yeah, no.
So, best available left tackle is going off the board. Will Campbell to the Patriots. Ben, at 5, we have the Jaguars. Jaguars have had a lot of controversy this week.
Yep.
Randomly, all these reporters are coming up and saying that the Jaguars are maybe a sneak pick for Ashton Genty. We don't think that.
I don't think that at all.
I don't think that at all. For the Jaguars pick, Ben, who did we have lined up for them, and why do you think we're going to go with that?
They're going to take Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan.
Best one in the draft.
Best one in the draft. Arguably one of the best player available at 5.
Absolutely, I would agree.
I mean, it's a safe pick. It's one that makes sense for them.
100%.
To bolster the interior of that defense. Everything starts in the trenches in football.
100.
If you have a good offensive line,
Yes.
if you have a good defensive line, either one, you're gonna win football games if you're good in the trenches.
Absolutely. Jaguars already have great edge rushers. Let's shore up the interior of that defensive line. Like Ben mentioned, be able to utilize those players a little bit better, like Hines Allen.
Yes.
Next pick. This is where we have been saying this. I mean, guys, weeks now. I don't think either one of us.
Months.
Yeah, months. Honestly.
Literally.
I don't think either one of us have frayed off of this. This is the, not Oakland, but Las Vegas Raiders, and they are going to be the ones who take Ashton Genty. We've gotten comments back and forth whether Raiders fans love this, taking a running back this high. I just see this as the best available guy that fills a position that they do not have anybody of worth at.
Yeah.
Ashton Genty, that'll change the whole offensive makeup. It gives Geno Smith a safety valve in essence on this offense. So I think Ashton Genty is 100% to the Raiders. We won't spend much more time on that because we've said it, like we said, for months.
We've said it
We're
for
just
months
a
now.
broken record on that one. Coming up at 7, guys. Now we did have a little bit of a twist here. 7 is where things start to get interesting, guys. Next guy off the board for the Jets, Ben, why don't you take this one?
Yes. The Jets at 7 are going to take Tyler Warren, tight end, out of Penn State.
Spicy.
I've been saying this for a while. I think Tyler Warren is going to go in the top 10. I believe he can go as high as 7 to the Jets.
100%.
So, I mean, he's a playmaker. He can catch the ball. He can do wildcat things for you as well.
Yeah, for a tight end, he's very athletic, very fast. LG, what up, dog? Welcome into the live. I just think that I haven't mocked this out, but you and I, we had our pre-mock discussion, and you kind of convinced me on it that why would the Jets go for an offensive lineman when they could have a guy of the future, a George Kittle-esque player in Tyler Warren?
Yeah.
Why not go that
100%,
route?
Yeah.
I like the pick. I like the pick for Justin Fields. Coming up next, guys, at the 8th pick. Now, we talked about this last Tuesday. Panthers, big team for discussion of trading out of this pick, whether that's trading back or whether it's trading out completely.
Yep.
Picking up future picks. They do have some picks in the later rounds, extra picks in the later rounds, so they can still build their team without that first-round pick. In our mock draft, we do have them trading away that first-round pick, and they're trading it to the Browns, guys. This is the biggest move of the draft. We have the Carolina Panthers trading their number 8 draft pick to the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns will select Shadur Sanders, matching up both Colorado players in this draft on their offense, and then obviously you're going to have Hunter on defense as well.
Yeah.
That is the splash play of the draft. I highly think it's possible.
It is possible. It would be absolutely wild.
It would be wild
if the Browns actually trade with the Panthers to that 8th spot to get Shadur Sanders.
It would be wild. Ben, we didn't really go into the specifics of what that trade would all entail, but if you look at the Cleveland Browns remainder of their draft, they have multiple.
Yeah, they have multiple picks.
Good picks. They have the 33rd pick, which is the first and the second round that they could shop around in this.
Yes, sir.
Maybe send their first next year. That and a pairing of something late in order to move up and get Shedeur Sanders, pairing the guy we just, touted as the number one athlete in this draft, Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he is the number one athlete in this draft, for sure.
You're putting his best friend with him.
Yeah.
The guy who threw him the ball in college, moved from Jackson State with him and his dad to Colorado. I just see this as too right. It just makes too much sense for them to sell the house on this and try to build off of these two and make them the franchise.
Yeah.
I think it's the smart move. I think that's what they told Myles Garrett, and that's how they got him to stay. They're like, dude.
Maybe.
Because he said he's comfortable with who the quarterback of the future is going to be, and it sure as hell isn't going to be Kenny Pickett.
It's definitely not going to be Kenny Pickett.
So I think that this is the most probable and the best move for the Cleveland Browns. We'll see if it's possible, but that's what we have for the Cleveland Browns. This is the big trade of the first half of the draft.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns, 8th pick in a trade.
And this would be the first step to rectifying the Deshaun Watson trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Browns fans, we're trying to help you out.
We are trying to help you out. We are.
We are trying to help
Steeler
you
fans,
out.
That's crazy, but
Let us know in the comments what you think about that crazy trade. The Cleveland Browns trading back into the first round at 8 to take Shedeur Sanders to pair him up with Travis Hunter. Let us know. I'm sure that you will. Next pick that we have coming up, Ben. This is a good one as well. This is now because the Saints can't get Shedeur Sanders because the Browns traded above them. We've got Jackson Dart.
Yep.
And now we've kind of said this over at least the last 2 weeks since we found out that Derek Carr is injured. He is maybe not going to be playing this season with that shoulder injury.
Yeah.
So why not bring in a new quarterback in Jackson Dart?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're going to be playing Spencer Rattler for the entire season.
Who ain't it?
No, you already seen what he had last season because he played a good portion of the season. It was not very good. Jake Haener is the other quarterback on the roster.
Not very good either.
Completely
not
sucks.
Not very good either.
So
I mean, with their 9th pick, I mean, if Tyler Warren doesn't go 7 to the Jets, I could see them taking Tyler Warren as well.
Right.
But if he goes at 7, if we're correct, which we're not going to be, but if we're correct, they'll take Jackson Dart at 9.
Yeah, like we kind of said with the Patriots, if one of these players that we've already mentioned falls out of that top 10 or that top 8 rather, they will go at 9 to the Saints. But if Jackson Dart is the best available quarterback that is on the board, I don't see them going O-line. I don't see them going with the wide receiver like some people are mentioning.
Yeah, no.
I see them taking Jackson Dart in this situation.
Yeah.
Making sure that the Steelers don't pull that trigger at 21. And then they miss out on a quarterback completely. Unless Milroe is the guy that they like. But I just 100% don't 100% think that's...
There's no way Milroe's going to go in the first round.
Yeah, definitely not at 9 at least, right, guys?
No.
Coming up next. Now, this is a guy who's climbed up the board as we've gone through these mocks. Your first mock, he didn't even make the board.
No. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah. Second mock draft, he made it into the end for you. He was on mine towards the end. Now here in our final mock draft, he's made his way entirely up the board.
Yes.
This is Walter Nolan. He's going to be going to the Bears, filling in that interior defensive line. I think that if you take a look at what the Bears did this offseason, they grabbed Grady Jarrett to play interior, but why not bring in a rookie to play behind him, learn the sticks off of him, eventually take over? They do have, I think it's Dexter Sr. or Glexter is his name, who was drafted by them 2 years back out of Florida. Okay. He's all right, more of a pass coverage guy. Walter Nolan, 5 technique, also interior.
Yep.
So I would it's one of those guys that you could put opposite of Sweat or in the interior, and he's going to be great.
Exactly.
I think he's going to get to the pass rusher. I think this is a great ad for the Bears. If you look what they did the rest of the way across the board, the offensive line is already shored up. They drafted
did that in
wide
free
receiver.
Agency. Free agency, they went after O-lineman, and I feel like with this first pick in the first round for them, they'll go get Walter Nolan. Yeah, beef up that defensive line.
100%. The only other guy that I could see them taking in this position, if Walter Nolan isn't it, is if somehow Ashton Genty falls to 10. 100%, the Bears will take him. I think pairing him up with DeAndre Swift and having a two-headed monster there, but. We have him going early, and we haven't had him not going early since the very beginning. So Bears, Walter Nolan with the 10th pick, guys, coming up at 11, second trade of the draft. You want to cover this trade, Ben? Because
Sure.
this is a spicy one.
Let's do it. So 11 was originally the 49ers pick. The Dolphins will swap picks with the Niners, include Jalen Ramsey in this trade to move up to 11. So Miami can draft Armand Membo, tackle from Missouri.
So we talked about this one, and now last week we were mentioning Jalen Ramsey, a good spot for him to land is potentially the 49ers after losing their cornerback core. Obviously, the 49ers are in a rebuild mode. Team that's in between them, that's the Dallas Cowboys. They also lost a lot of offensive linemen. Miami gets a little scared, wants to go above them, takes Membo in this situation. Like Ben mentioned, they are just moving back from 11 to 13 with a swap including Jalen Ramsey. I think it's a decent pick. Jalen wants out. They're able to move up 2 picks. It's a pretty clean swap out. Two positions on this, unless they're fighting for the same guy. I see it as a highly probable thing if that is a team that wants Jalen Ramsey. I could honestly see that happening, no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But let us know in the comments what you think about that, guys. Miami Dolphins moving up 2 picks with the 49ers ahead of the Dallas Cowboys to take Membo. They swap first-round picks, include Jalen Ramsey in that trade. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. Are we crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but I like it. I like it, all right? Coming up at 12, though, our next pick, this is first wide receiver off the board.
Yeah, first wide receiver off the board.
Now, you had talked about this last week with Tet McMillan.
Yes.
And having him go to the Cowboys. And it just seems like as time goes along, this might be one of the best landing spots for Tet. Another one just in the top of my mind is Seattle as a replacement for DK Metcalf. I'm not 100% sure that he's going to play up to the level of DK Metcalf. But in our situation here, we've got him going to the Cowboys, playing the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb in that offense. Something I wanted to add quickly with this. I don't know if you've seen this today, Ben. But Jerry Jones came out. Now, he's one to tease all kinds of things before the draft. But he says he has 2 major trades that he's trying to work through before the draft. Okay. Depending on how they go, he's only going to pick one of them. But he's between 2 picks right now. He could be lying. Take it with a grain of salt.
He could be lying.
Take it with a grain of salt.
We'll see.
But, guys, for our picks here, Cowboys, Tet McMillan, that was your choice last week. I think it sticks in stone. I like that pick.
I think it sticks. I think it's either 12 here. I don't think he's going to fall farther than that, to be honest with you.
But I think the offensive player is definitely the move for the Cowboys. Now, whether it's Tet, whether it's Matthew Golden, or whether somehow, again, like we said with the Bears, Genty somehow falls out of the top 10 to the Cowboys, this is definitely the move. It's going to be a wide receiver. It's going to be a running back, most likely wide receiver, given how the draft is set up. I don't think they'll reach for a Marion Hampton. That would be the next available running back, but there is a chance.
They could. They
there is a
could
chance.
reach for Marion Hampton, but I don't think they will.
Now, if they do, they'll be able to pair up. I don't know if you knew this. Javonte Williams and Amarian Hampton, both North Carolina guys, would both be on the same team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That would be interesting. Yeah. However, that's not what we took for this one, guys. In our next pick we have coming up, this is the 49ers, who did trade back.
Yes.
Moments ago, picking up Jalen Ramsey from the Miami Dolphins. We had him take a Mike Green.
Yep.
Plainest name in the draft, but a guy that we've talked about pretty.
He's another one who rose up on our draft board.
Absolutely.
For this final mock draft.
Absolutely. He was in the 20s for most of our drafts, mock drafts. However, he has moved up as we've gone along. All of his tape, guys, in the combine is great. He just excels, and excels. He looks like a freak. I mean, behind Abdul Carter and maybe James Pierce Jr., this is my third best edge rusher, I think, that is available on the board. Looking down through the list, the kid from Boston College, yes, very good. We had a deep discussion about him last night.
Yes, we did.
But Mike Green, we have him going to the 49ers. That's coming up with the 12th pick, putting him on the opposite side of Bosa. Hopefully that creates some sort of pass rush for the 49ers in the rebuild mode. Given the state of the NFC West, though, they could be in rebuild mode and still make the playoffs. I was talking with a couple viewers about that last night.
They could still win the division.
They could still win the division. That division is definitely in repair. So with the 13th pick, an edge rusher and Mike Green goes off the board. Let us know what you think about that, guys. Coming up at the 14th pick. Now this This is the Colts.
We debated on this one for a little bit.
This
last
one
night.
took us a little while to get through on the Colts. We weren't sure who exactly we wanted them to go with, the options they had available. Obviously, we liked players such as Tyler Warren going to them, or potentially one of the linebackers going off the board to them as well.
Yeah.
In this situation, we did have them go with a linebacker. Maybe they pick the second best one, in my opinion, for the middle of the field. I like Campbell from Alabama a little bit more than Jalen Walker, but Jalen Walker, very good. This is who we have them taking. Oh, man, watch out, microphone. I'm
punching the mic.
swinging fingers today. At 14, we have the Colts taking Jalen Walker, having him play not only on the ball but off the ball as a linebacker for them.
Yeah.
If
He can do it both.
Yeah, he can do both. If you look at their roster, I mean, it's like Zaire Franklin and a couple practice squad guys on the roster right now.
Yeah.
This is definitely something that is a need.
They did need linebacker over there in Indy.
100%.
I mean, I think this is a solid pick for them. Part of me still thinks they take Campbell though.
Over him?
Over him.
Yeah, it's a toss up for me, guys. I mean, if the Panthers do not trade away their pick, I think they take Jalen Walker, and then this would cause the Colts to then take Campbell instead out of
for
Alabama.
Sure. If that's the case, they'll definitely get Campbell.
100%. Given what we have and how we set this up, though, we have Jalen Walker as the 14th pick going to the Indianapolis Colts. Guys, let us know what you think about that one. Coming up with our 15th pick, this is the second linebacker. Now, this is a little bit of a run there. We're going to have Campbell going off the board.
Yes.
Shaheed Campbell, he's going to be going to the Falcons. I had him in one of my mock drafts before. I thought you did too.
No, I the last couple mock drafts, I've had Arizona taking a wide receiver.
Atlanta, not Arizona.
Atlanta. Sorry.
Yeah, you had Atlanta taking wide
both
receivers.
A's, come on.
Right.
Both red, both birds.
In this situation, it seems like Ray McLeod is going to keep his job.
Yes.
So, Shaheed Campbell, we have him going at number 15 to the Falcons. I like this pick for them, replacing people like Nate Anderson or Landman. Yeah, mix Anderson and Landman together.
And Landman.
Both of them gone. Both of them replaced by Campbell in our picks here. Coming up with our 16th pick and the last pick of part one here.
Now the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals. With the Arizona Cardinals 16th pick in the draft, we have them taking Barron.
Yes.
Jihad.
Arguably the best corner.
Yeah.
He's
definitely the best man corner in this draft. That is for sure. He's definitely the best on press. He's definitely the best man coverage guy. This is definitely a huge need for the Cardinals.
For sure.
Given the situation with the Miami Dolphins and the 49ers, sorry, my brain stopped working for a second. But given that trade setup that we have, this is what allowed Barron to fall into that 16 spot. This gives Arizona Cardinals an immediate starter at cornerback, which is something they badly need. The only guy that you can name in the whole entire secondary is Budda Baker, and last season he was quiet as could be. I love this pick for the Cardinals. I think this just puts them more forward. We were just talking about the fact that the 49ers could potentially win their division because of how bad it is. This move actually makes the Arizona Cardinals a little bit more relevant. They weren't too far out of playoff spot last year, but the defense was clearly a need.
Yes.
Another one is obviously wide receiver. However, in this situation, we think defense wins championships, and this is why they go with Barron first. Just too hard to pass up on that.
They also could go get an edge rusher as well, but with the signing of Josh Sweat in free agency,
it's a less of a need.
I agree with you here. They're going to go corner, take Barron at 16.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, let us know what you think. Do you think Barron slid too far in our first half of the draft? Do you think that we're crazy because Shedeur Sanders is going to be going to the Cleveland Browns with the 8th pick? Let us know. We'll have the second part for you.
I think we're crazy.
Yeah, we might be. We'll have the second part for you here coming up tomorrow. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you like, and make sure you have that bell on so you get the notification when that next episode drops. Want to appreciate you guys for tuning in to the first half of our final mock draft. Again, if you don't see us, we'll be live Thursday for the entire draft. Make sure you tune in live here on YouTube or TikTok. Until the next one, peace out.
Yahtzee. Grant's the first pick.
Yeah.
Okay. We got it.
We'll squeeze past them.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? We just got done with part 1 of our mock draft, of our final mock draft. We ended on the Arizona Cardinals. We're gonna pick right back up at 17 with the Bengals and go through the rest of our mock draft.
Whoop,
This is
whoop.
part 2.
Yep, part 2. We got Bengals first on the board. Hope you caught part 1. If you didn't, click on the logo there. Scroll down. See what we did so far because we have a crazy final mock draft for you. The other ones haven't included any trades.
Yes.
This one we dabbled with the trades. Make sure you check out part 1 if you haven't already. But let's dive into part 2 here, Ben. Like you said, first pick, this is the Cincinnati Bengals, team we hate the most. Well, one of the most, other than the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're up there for me as a rival team for the Steelers.
Yeah.
But with this pick, I mean, do you think we're going to take offense, guys? If you think that we're taking offense for the Cincinnati Bengals, please watch some more football. No, I'm kidding. We have them taking Kenneth Grant. This will be the second Michigan guy off the board. Also, second Michigan interior defensive lineman.
Yeah. They got 2 that are going to go in the first round.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
They produced them. They produced them. That is for sure. And I think that's a place of need. We were looking over their depth chart last night.
Yeah.
It is very thin on the defensive line. It gets a little bit better in the secondary with the players that they have in Jordan Battle.
Not great, but better.
Yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt. It is definitely better in the secondary than it is for their defensive line. So that's why in this situation, Kenneth Grant, that's who we have going to the Cincinnati Bengals at 17. Ben, what do we have coming up at 18 for the Seahawks?
18 for the Seahawks. We have Malachi Starks, safety from Georgia, falling to 18.
Definitely falling. I like this pick. I think this puts Julian Love in a great situation.
Oh, yeah. Try and bring back Legion of Boom.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly why we went with this pick is we think that bringing back that, Legion of Boom feeling in Seattle is the move. They have great cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Play.
Witherspoon, one of them.
Dude, Witherspoon, and then the other one is Woolen.
Woolen, yeah.
Dude,
Witherspoon and Woolen. They got the corners. They just need to get that strong safety.
100%.
Or no, free safety. I don't know.
Free safety or strong safety.
Love strong safety.
It really depends on how they play him. In certain plays, he is the free safety. In other plays, he's a run support strong safety. It just depends what package they're in. You add Malachi Starks into the mix, you can kind of set them both in stone so they can both do 1A and 1B.
Yep.
You take care of those back zone positions. I think this is a great pick for them. I think this is a fall.
This is a fall.
There's a chance that the Chicago Bears take Malachi Starks. There's a chance that if the Carolina Panthers, we won't give you too much away, but if the Carolina Panthers don't trade out of their pick, they could take him as well.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I think this is the best landing spot for him, given what we have on the board. Malachi Starks goes is it 17 or 18?
18.
18. To the Seahawks. Let us know what you think about that. Do you think that Starks could fall that far? I don't think it's a dramatic fall, but it is one nonetheless.
I mean, it's potentially 10 picks.
10, yeah, I would say he's like a 9. I would say I would rate him between 8 and 12 is where you would expect him to go. Him going here at 18, not a huge fall.
Yeah.
Not like we were talking, like some reporters were talking about Shedeur Sanders falling out of the entire round.
Yeah, no.
This is just a slight drop to a team that fits him the best. Moving on to the next pick, this is where we have our first trade coming up in the second half of the draft.
Yes, it is.
This one is a steal pick. This is the Green Bay Packers getting ahead of the Denver Broncos so that they can draft Emeka Egbuka. Ohio State wide receiver.
I like this move. I like this pick. I think Green Bay is going to get one hell of a wide receiver with Ibuka.
You haven't seen Green Bay draft a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. Did you know that?
Don't ask me who that is.
I can't off the top of my head remember who it is. I'm gonna just say it's Donald Driver. I don't think that's correct. But
I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, still, regardless, haven't drafted one in the first round since 2002. They have a lot of talented wide receivers.
Yes.
A lot of young,
They
good wide
have-
receivers.
So Christian Watson, who can't stay healthy for an entire season.
He's their big guy.
Though, if he can stay healthy, he can be a top 12 wide receiver in the league.
Big if.
Big if. He's got the speed. He's got the size. He's physical, which is why he gets hurt.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, yeah, no, you're not wrong.
So, and then Jalen Reed, just a small slot guy, gadget guy. He's nice for those type of things, but he's not really consistent. Plus, he had some drops.
Right. And then you have
Whatnot,
Dobbs and
so-
Wicks.
Which I'm not in love with either one of those
No,
guys.
I think that if our trade comes to fruition, I think that Tampa Bay ends up with either Wicks or Dobbs in this situation. I think that those are one of the guys that go in the
see that.
trade
I
with
can see
Tampa. Tampa picks up another wide receiver for Baker Mayfield. Do they necessarily need one really all that bad?
No,
But adding depth wouldn't be a bad thing, especially with Godwin coming off of that injury, Mike Evans going up there in age.
Yep.
Why not add another guy to the roster just in case? You can put him in on first, second downs, give Mike a break on a couple plays because he's getting to that point where he's not going to be able to play every single down.
absolutely.
So now Green Bay has traded above the Denver Broncos, stolen the wide receiver that they wanted to take for Bo Nix. What are we going to do for Bo Nix? Because Bo Nix needs a weapon.
Yes, they're going to get a weapon. They're going to get a good one, in my opinion, too. So at 20, the Broncos are going to take Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina.
And this is when the Steelers locker room or the Steelers draft room is going to go, oh.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Steelers are aiming for this guy later in the draft if he is available. I love this pick for the Broncos. We've been talking over all of our mock drafts. I don't think we've ever once gone out of the fact that Bo Nix getting a weapon in the first round has to be the play for the Broncos.
Has to be.
Let us know in the comments what you think about that. Do you think it's Omarion Hampton? Would you rather them in this situation, given who's left on the board, guys? Would you like them to go after a wide receiver instead? Matthew Golden is still on the board. Let us know what you think. I like this better.
Yeah.
I like
this
adding
pick.
him.
I like this pick for him. They do like their wide receivers that they do have.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton's good. They like, what's the kid, Valet. They like him a lot.
And then they have Mims, too, who's their fast gadget player.
Mims and Franklin.
Yes,
Franklin
Troy
as
Franklin.
well, who struggled last year in his rookie season, but I think they still like him.
He was Bo Nix wide receiver in college. I think that he has a come up year. I think he's going to be better than he was the year prior.
Yeah.
But we will see. I really just think that if we can shore up the running back field or the running field for Bo Nix, I can't talk today apparently.
Right.
That is the best move in the first round. Given what is on the board, yes, you could get a speedster like Matthew Golden, but why not get a first, second, and third down running back in Omarion Hampton?
Yeah.
We did find it funny. We were looking at what PFF compares him to NFL player-wise.
Yeah.
They said Rashad Mendenhall
Who was good
for a very short period of time.
Short period of time, and then he
Bruce.
fumbled in the Super Bowl. And
Bruce, what's up, man? Welcome into live. Yeah, screw him, Rashad Mendenhall. Fumbling in the Super Bowl. So,
Right.
Ben, our Pittsburgh Steelers are up next. There's a guy
sir.
who is projected to go early, got injured during the season,
Yes, sir.
his college season, senior year, and now has fallen to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is Will Johnson, cornerback. Steelers, do they necessarily need a cornerback all that bad, Ben? No. I mean, yes and no.
yes and no, but yes.
Yeah. if Will Johnson is still on the board, I don't think
Yeah.
the Pittsburgh Steelers can pass on him. I
Oh
think
my goodness! If the Steelers pass Will Johnson at 21, just
yeah.
I might boycott
Mhm.
because it would put someone else who's good on the other side of Joey Porter,
Exactly.
so we don't have to try and sign some old head.
Oh, like we already
you know,
did?
like we already did with Darius Slay.
Yeah, I like it.
And we can. And this guy, I feel like the last time we drafted corner in the first round,
Artie Burns.
Huge mistake. But this guy, his pedigree is better.
100%.
Playing at Michigan,
Yeah.
everything like that.
Played in a pro-style
So-
defense. I would say that the only thing that knocks him is the fact that I believe it was a knee injury that he received.
It was a knee injury.
So
Yeah.
I think that he's able to come back from that. He's a young guy. Pittsburgh Steelers not going to pass up on what should be a top 10 pick, maybe top 12 pick, but because of his injury, makes him fall in this situation. So we have Will Johnson falling all the way to 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I will say, before we move on to the next pick, there's one thing the Steelers could do in this situation that would be okay with me. There might be another team out there who really likes Will Johnson, and we might be able to get a second-round pick by trading back here.
Yes.
With one of the remaining teams who have a first-round pick, maybe go 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, but pick up a second-round pick.
Yeah, I could totally see that
I would be okay with that. Guys, let us know in the comments what you think the Steelers should do. If Will Johnson is available, do they take him? Do they trade back to somebody who does want them, pick up their second-round pick that they lost for DK? Let us know in the comments. We'll be looking for him. Ben, next on the board, we haven't changed this pick. Kind of like Ashton Genty, this pick has been the same since the beginning of time. And if you go and look,
it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. If you go and look, I don't think there's anybody who doesn't say the Chargers take this guy. Every single analyst has the Chargers taking Colston Loveland.
I mean, I've seen Colston Loveland going as high as 14 to the Colts. I don't think that's the case. I think the Colts will get a linebacker at 14. And Colston Loveland's going to fall to his former head coach with the Chargers.
Yeah, I absolutely think that is the case. It's a position in need. We want to build around Justin Herbert. We have some wide receivers there, not the greatest ones. I mean, we brought back Mike Williams. I don't know who is.
Yeah, they brought back Mike Williams. I mean,
there's no parade for that.
McConkey is a rising star.
100%.
So
100%. So McConkey's down there. You bring in Colston Loveland. He's a pass catcher who is not scared to block as well.
Big vertical threat.
This adds for not only Justin Herbert, but also for Najee Harris for the run game as well. I do like this. I think Colston Loveland is just a lock. I might even just be holding up a sign when their pick is up that says, we already know this is Colston Loveland.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, guys, let us know if you think that there's anybody else the Chargers would consider taking. For us, Colston Loveland, that is a lock. I don't think that changes. Moving into the next pick, this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who have now traded back with the Green Bay Packers. Ben, who did we have them taking at 23?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to take edge rusher James Pierce Jr.
Love it.
I love this pick.
Love it.
Love this pick.
And now, James Pierce Jr., if you've been watching the show for any period of time, is one of my favorite prospects in this draft. Just a freak, complete freak. I think that when we were talking earlier in part one, if you didn't catch that, I was mentioning that Abdul Carter and Mike Green, they just look like anytime you watch their tapes, you're like, holy crap. Yeah. James Pierce Jr. ain't too far off of this list, man.
Yeah.
He's
a
scary.
Baller. He is a baller.
SEC.
And like there's a question about his size, but he can always bulk up in the NFL.
He can bulk up and he's fast.
And he's fast and he's just you can do no wrong by drafting James Pierce Jr.
I see him as Alex Highsmith. That's a good comparison for me.
That is a very good comparison.
I see him as an Alex Highsmith. I think he's going to be able to get to the quarterback quickly, get strip sacks. I like him a lot. I like this for Tampa Bay. No, are they grabbing somebody for Baker? No, but they did get maybe in our trade either Romeo Dubes or Dontravian Wicks. So they did pick up somebody by moving back a little bit in our theoretical trade. I do like this James Pierce Jr. pick. Yeah. I honestly think he's a top 15 prospect in this draft. Ben, let's move on to the next team that we have here. This is the Vikings. This is kind of a boringer pick.
Yeah.
They're taking Derek Harmon. This is an interior defensive lineman.
For them.
It is a huge need for them. In that NFC North, what is a big thing that they do up there? Run the football.
Ball.
Yeah, run the football. What do you need to stop the run?
D lineman.
Interior defensive
Interior D lineman.
Yeah. So they added.
You got to play against Josh Jacobs, Monty, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. Even Aaron Jones. Give him his props. Aaron Jones.
And they just Swift.
Jordan Mason
is
now on the Vikings. Well, he's on the Vikings, so I don't think he's going to be getting any runs against him. But still, to the point that they do run a lot up in the NFC North. Another thing I wanted to mention is they added Jonathan Allen. This puts a guy 1-2 next to him. I like this. It adds a fresh young body to a 31-year-old who's going to be playing DT for them. So Vikings at 24, add Derek Harmon. Ben, 25. I'm going to let you take this pick because in our viewer Madden League that we run with our viewers during the offseason, you happen to be this team. So I'm going to let you take it away with the 25th pick.
Although
who you got?
Did not draft him. Traded for him, but did not draft him. But at 25, the Houston Texans, I've gone back and forth with this. I personally still think that the Texans could get a tackle here with this pick.
Yes.
But we talked about this last night, and we ultimately decided that they're going to take Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas.
Taking the speedster, worried about Tank Dell coming back for 2025. Ben is right. When we sat down and talked about the Texans specifically, I think it took me about 20 minutes of convincing him to not take Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah. I was dead set on that.
That would be a great pick for them. They did pick up some free agency tackles and offensive linemen to kind of fill the hole, which gives me the idea that maybe second, third round is where they'll start attacking the offensive line needs. Here, though, getting Stroud another option, getting him somebody else to throw the football to. Like we said, we're not sure if Tank Dell is going to play. Christian Kirk is on the team now, but broke his collarbone last year, so you haven't seen tape on him in over 9 months. So why not bring in a fresh body?
He's getting up there in age and whatnot. And this guy, Matthew Golden, will replace Diggs in a huge way.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100%. So, guys, with the 25th pick, we have C.J. Stroud getting a weapon. If Emeka Egbuka was available, I think that they would maybe consider taking him to pair him up with his college quarterback. However, he is not. So Matthew Golden, the fastest guy in the draft, he ends up going to the Texans at 25. Coming up at 26, this is how I got you out of it, because you're a Rams fan.
Yeah.
So I said, what does the next team need that is on the board? That is the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams are going to take Banks.
Yes, yeah. They'll take Kelvin Banks Jr.
Now, they need a tackle. They just got rid of Jonah Jackson here, sending him up to the Bears. So now, get a replacement first round. They've got Matthew Stafford, who stayed. Remember, at the beginning of offseason, Matthew Stafford was almost out the door. So they're going to build around him. As long as he is there, they are a playoff contender. He is a top 10 quarterback in the league, even at 36, 37 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
So why not get a nice, young, fresh left tackle to play for him? We looked up in PFF how he had played throughout his career.
Yeah.
He's a tackle only.
Yeah.
So you slide him in
a
a tackle, and you hope that he defends Matthew Stafford to the best of his ability. Rams fans, let us know. Do you think that offensive line is what they should go for in the first round? We do.
We do.
So let us know. Next pick, 27. This is the Dirty Bird Ravens up on this pick. I'm going to try to say his name.
You go ahead.
Will try to
you
do
go
it.
ahead. I'm going to butcher it. So
now I'll tell you guys that when we were having discussions about this player last night, Ben tried to convince me that Boston College is some sort of massive defensive producing school. It's because of Luke Kuechly. So he had a point. Luke Kuechly did come out of Boston College, but goddamn, that was the only guy.
Who's arguably one of the best linebackers to ever play in the NFL.
Truthfully is. So with the 27th pick, I have Donovan Ezeruku. I know I didn't say that right, guys. Rip me apart in the comments. That's the best I can do. From Pittsburgh. Yeah. But
I don't know.
I like him. He's projected to go way higher. To be completely honest with you, this is a fall.
This is a fall.
He should be going somewhere in between maybe 15 to 20 is where he's mocked out to go. But in this situation, we have him falling back. His team's going after different needs on the team. I could see this being a top need for the Ravens. Another thing to note is the Ravens could trade up. They do have Mark Andrews wishy-washy on the trade block, so take a look for that during the draft. Mark Andrews might become available, allowing the Baltimore Ravens to move up in the draft. Let us know what you think about that. Who would they move up and get if they did so? Let us know in the comments. Guys, next pick. I like this pick.
Yeah,
this guy moved up a little bit.
A little bit. A couple spots.
I think this is a guy that Dan Campbell would really like to have.
Yes, sir. So this next pick, 28, Detroit Lions take Greg Zabel.
Offensive lineman. We're not even going to say tackle or anything like that.
Yeah, he was listed as a guard before. Now he's listed as a tackle, but
we went and looked.
This guy can play.
This guy can play
anywhere on the offensive line.
You're right.
So why not?
100%. They have to replace Zelter, who is out this season. He obviously went into free agency. This is, like you just said, he could play anywhere. We looked up his stats. Through all of his college career, he has played every single position.
So, and he'll probably end up at guard.
I think so too.
They have Penei Sewell, left tackle.
Yeah, and they got Decker on the opposite side. They have a couple tackles.
So I can see them putting him at guard.
I think he's an interior guy 100%. He sits right beside Glass now on the offensive line. I think this is a great ad for them. I think that we've talked about this over the past couple weeks. Cody Marsh is another guy out of this college playing for Tampa Bay. He is great. He is also a utility lineman. He can play center. He can play guard. Play tackle, not the best tackle, better on the interior. I think that Zabel fills that same exact mold. I think that that's what you're going to see coming out of these smaller colleges is you're going to see these beefed up offensive linemen who can play anywhere across the board. Their dad's a corn farmer, and they just have a big body, and they've been throwing hay bales and corn stalks for years.
North Dakota State. So
yeah, exactly. Terry's in the chat. He's just coming out of our Madden League game. Hopefully he won his game. Coming up next, Terry, you came in at a great time because we're on your team. Washington Commanders, you were on the clock.
Sir.
Ben, this one I had to convince you a little bit of too, but who do we have?
This one is a little bit. So at 29, the Commanders are going to take corner Trey Amos.
I like this
from
pick.
Ole Miss.
I like this pick.
This is a team that I could see trading up with the Steelers, swapping picks with the Steelers.
To get Johnson?
To get Johnson.
150% I agree with you. If there is a team that is in this bottom half that doesn't affect the Steelers through a trade, it would be the Commanders or maybe one of the other NFC teams, but some of the other ones are kind of wishy-washy on trading back. You wouldn't get very much given the position. I think this is the number one spot outside of the Eagles that they would trade back.
The Eagles are known for trading up in the first round.
100%. So for this pick, we have them taking Trey Amos. This is a cornerback out of Ole Miss. This is the third Ole Miss off the board in the first round for us.
Yes, it
Michigan and Ole Miss seem to be the big hitting colleges for us here.
Yes, it is.
I like Trey Amos. We were looking at his stats. This is kind of more of a, let's put a guy on the opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore, who's young, who while we have Marshawn for one more year of contract, let's have him teach and play at the same time. Get the most out of our money.
Yeah.
He is being paid a lot. So Trey Amos off the board, 29 to the Commanders. Coming up at 30. I like this pick, Ben, but I'm going to let, and then you know what? I'm going to take this one.
You take this one.
I'm going to take this one. Guys, for the first time in years, the Buffalo Bills will not let the Kansas City Chiefs trade above them and take a wide receiver or the player that they need. They're going to keep their pick and actually take it. And with this pick, they take my boy, Luther Burden III.
Yep.
Now, we talked about this for a couple minutes last night on which wide receiver actually fits best on the Buffalo Bills. It's 50-50. Bruce, I appreciate the gift there. It's 50-50 for me on whether Luther Burden is actually the best guy. He's more of a gadget guy. Comp is like a Deebo Samuel-esque.
Yeah.
If you look at Luther Burden's senior year, he fell off completely. The problem with him is, for me, is that he is primarily a slot guy. He's very good out of the slot. He's very good at going deep off the slot. But, I mean, for his build, he is chunkier.
Yeah.
He's able to take – he's fast, but he's a bigger running back who is shorter. I think we looked him up at 5'11" last night.
Yeah, it's like 5'11",
208.
208, 210,
something like that.
Something around there.
So I see this being a good pick for them. They would have to do something significant splash play to move up to get any other wide receiver or any other player. I think Luther Burden is a good pick for them. Matthew Golden would be another good one with Josh Palmer coming into play for the Bills this year. I think that going with more of a short down guy would be better. You have Khalil Shakir. Now you also have Luther Burden and Kincaid for the mixture of cross patterns. I think this would be great for Josh Allen. Luther Burden, number 30 to the Bills.
I mean, they gave Josh Allen a huge bag, so just surround him with weapons.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter they took Keon Coleman in this same position last year. Keep adding to this. They don't really need anything else other than defense, and a lot of the great defensive players have been taken off the board already. So let's go with the best wide receiver that's out there for them. Buffalo Bills, Luther Burden III. Coming up with a 31st pick. Now, originally, we were seeing how the Kansas City Chiefs could trade their way up into the earlier portion of the first round. However, we weren't able to find a suitor for them. And because of that, Ben, we have them taking
Josh Simmons, tackle, Ohio State.
I think that
they're going to go offensive line regardless where they're at.
I think it could be Jackson, too. the other Ohio State offensive lineman out there. I believe he's a
yeah.
tackle or guard listing. I think his, depending on what website you look at, switches. I could see them going with either one of those players. It's definitely going to be offensive line. I mean, the last game that we watched, guys, it's ingrained in our brain is Patrick Mahomes getting bodied over and over again. The Kansas City Chiefs retained all of their wide receivers from last year. They brought them all back. They've got Worthy. They've got Hollywood Brown, and then we'll see what goes on with Rashee Rice and his injury and also his suspension that he never took care of as well.
That's right.
So,
he's still going to get suspended at some point.
Regardless of the situation, he's still getting suspended. So, Bruce, you let us know what you think about that, but we have an offensive lineman, whether either one of the Ohio State offensive linemen personally, I think, but we have Josh Simmons in this situation going to the Chiefs, adding to that offensive line that they so need filled. They just need depth across the board there. They also traded away Thuney this offseason. So there's an empty spot at guard as well. Ben, the last pick that we have here, number 32 with the Eagles. Tell me who we decided to have them take.
Eagles are going to take Mykel Williams, edge rusher, Georgia.
Oh, how weird. Another Georgia Bulldog?
Yeah, so weird.
So
weird.
The Eagles taking a Georgia player?
3 out of 4 years? What?
I think this is a good pick. I'm not gonna lie. I can see them going with this player. They do need an edge rusher. They need to replace Brandon Graham, and they do it in getting Mykel Williams. I don't know if Mykel played with all the other guys that they have. He might have. He might have been like a true freshman.
I think he was definitely on the team for
Walker. Definitely was.
Is it Carter? Was Carter the last one?
The last one to go off?
Yeah. Jordan Davis was the first one. And well, before that, it was Hassan Reddick. Then Jordan Davis, and then Jalen Carter. Yeah.
So
last year they took Mitchell, the corner.
And they also have Nakobe Dean.
First round. And they also have Nakobe Dean,
who's also from Georgia.
So Eagles love taking Georgia defensive players.
And I think that given the makeup of what is left over and them being the last pick in the draft, if Mykel Williams falls to 32 to the Eagles, they will be more than happy to take him in this situation. However, Ben and I both know the Eagles will somehow trade their way up into the draft at some point in time and get something.
Probably to take Mykel Williams.
Probably. I'll tell you this, though.
I'll
tell you this, though. If at number 4, Abdul Carter is somehow on the board still, major rumors exist that the New England Patriots will trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, and A.J. Brown might go up to the Patriots in return for the 4 overall and the 32 overall pick.
That's tough.
That would be that would be tough, but for the Patriots, it wouldn't be too crazy. You would acquire a great wide receiver in A.J. Brown with the 4 pick, plus you would still have a later first-round pick to build around Drake May, maybe take an offensive lineman in that situation instead.
Do you think the Patriots do? They got Diggs now.
I mean, you put Diggs and A.J. Brown on offense.
Oh, that's one hell of a wide receiver.
Exactly. Guys, that kind of concluded the draft portion of things for today. Ben and I did kind of want to go over a couple other things, though, that we had more leaning towards fantasy football and more towards our team in general.
Because that's going to start ramping up here soon.
Very, very, very quickly.
Going to be here before you know it. We'll be drafting.
First, Ben, let me ask you, of anybody who's getting drafted, who are you most excited? What player are you most excited to see get drafted and to see where they go?
Who isn't going in the first round?
Just in general.
Just in general?
Yeah.
I'm excited for Tyler Warren.
You're excited for Tyler Warren?
Yeah. It's just, he's a playmaker. He's tight end is probably my favorite position.
I was going to say, you were pretty happy.
I love a good tight end.
Yeah, you were pretty happy with Bowers last season. When Bowers went to the Raiders, you were pretty happy about it, and then you wrote that out in fantasy pretty hard. So
I did, and it worked out.
You were right.
It worked out.
Okay,
for the most part.
You're most excited to see Warren in this year's draft, see where he goes. For me, guys, I'm most excited to see where Shedeur Sanders goes. I think that the talk that is going around is all BS. Ben and I, before the show started, even mentioned that the more you watch his tape, the more we like him. I like Shedeur Sanders. I am really hoping he falls to 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If that is not the case, I still will be excited to see where he goes. That's probably the number one guy for me. I also am kind of excited to see where Jackson Dart ends up falling. based on Shadur Sanders. I
Yeah.
think that's a
Yeah.
1A, 1B situation. I'm just excited to see how the quarterback situation plays out. Ben, let me also ask you, before we get into our top 5 rookies that we think from this draft that are going to be playmakers for fantasy football purposes, that is. Who is one guy not in the first round that you want to see the Pittsburgh Steelers try to go after, and why?
I would love to see the Pittsburgh Steelers go after Caleb Johnson, running back, Iowa, in like 3rd, 4th round.
Okay.
Would love that pick. So he's a bigger body running back, like Najee Harris, but he's faster. He's more physical. I think he's just a better running back in general than Najee Harris.
Okay.
And putting him with Warren would be
great compliment.
Would be great.
Okay. You see him as a 1st and 2nd down back. Warren still coming in for 3rd down.
Yep.
Long yardage.
Warren can't handle the load. We cannot go into the season with just Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, I also agree. I don't think Jaylen Warren is an every down back. That's not to say that I don't love Jaylen Warren. I think he is a great committee running back, though.
Yes, for sure.
100%. I like that. Your guy, RJ Harvey, is another guy who's out there maybe as a running back for the Steelers. Me personally, though, I want to see in the 5th round the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ollie Gordon. I'd like to see Ollie Gordon. It's kind of under the same mantra that you have. I want a bigger running back to come in, someone with some push, someone with some break tackle, someone with some move the pile.
Yeah.
And I think Ollie Gordon could potentially be that. To be completely honest, for some reason, Melvin Gordon III comes to mind when I think and watch him play. Now, did Melvin Gordon pan out for the long run? No, but he was great for a couple years.
Oh, yeah, he was really good for a couple years.
And for a 5th round pick, I mean, if you get a couple years out of a running back, I'm not going to really be complaining about it.
No, not at all.
Ollie Gordon, I hope the Steelers take player, not in the 1st round.
Don't get me wrong. I love RJ Harvey as well, but he's more of a Jaylen Warren type.
Yeah, exactly. You would have 2 of the same exact guy on the field all the time, and it wouldn't really change pace in any way, shape, or form. No. Now, I'm with you on that. Let's go into our fantasy rookies. Now, for fantasy rookies, do you want me to start?
You can start.
All right, cool. I have an honorable mention. That honorable mention's Tyler Warren, which I know sounds a little crazy because he's obviously going to be a starter on somebody's team and is going to get production. But my number 1 guy that I think is going to be the biggest fantasy implication this season is Ashton Genty. I think Genty 100%, whether he ends up on Dallas or the Raiders or if he ends up somehow going to the Jaguars, which is crazy. I think that Ashton Genty is going to be the number 1 rookie who puts up fantasy points just because he's going to tote the ball the most. I think the ball is going to go into his hands the most. On that same mantra, my number 2 and 3 players, this is going to be Travion Henderson, and then number 3, I have Omarion Hampton. So my top 3 guys are all running backs. I think that those 3 running backs are going to be the ones who have the biggest chance of taking starting jobs to start. I think Trey Henderson is probably a mid-2nd round pick, most likely.
Yeah. Maybe
to the Bears or something like that. A team that could use a guy to go along, a complement guy to go along with their already back. You know what I mean? I would expect that Henderson is kind of like a 11 fantasy point guy. You know what I mean? Maybe touchdown dependent, but catches passes. So if you're using him in PPR, he could be a bigger player. I like Henderson a lot this season coming forward, regardless of what team he is on. Other 2 picks, these are both wide receivers. I'm going with Jaden Higgins.
Okay.
And Emeka Egbuka. Because I think no matter what, Egbuka's going to go onto a team that is going to be throwing him the ball in the slot like JSN a lot. I think maybe the first 3-4 weeks of the season, you don't see a lot out of him. You got to stash him on your bench. But you get to like week 7 when an injury happens, you start having to use them, and it's like, thank God I got this guy.
That's how Justin Jefferson was his rookie year.
Absolutely. I traded him. I was able to trade him before he boomed. I can't remember what I got, but I got a haul for him. Anyways, Ben, for your list, who do you kind of have as top fantasy players?
Yeah, so my top 5 rookies to go after this year for fantasy, I got Tyler Warren at 1.
Okay.
I just think he's going to ball out. Ashton Genty at 2.
Okay.
Trey Henderson at 3.
Okay.
Omarion Hampton at 4. That's where we kind of differ.
No, I had a Hampton.
Oh, you had Hampton on there?
We had the same 3 running backs.
Oh, yeah, we had the same 3 running back. Where we differ is I think RJ Harvey is like the next. I actually saw this the other day. He's been compared to like a Bucky Irving type. You know?
Okay.
So come on the scene, late round pick, steal the starting job for some team. I can see RJ Harvey doing that as well. And my honorable mention, Tez Johnson.
Tez Johnson,
Yes.
the speedster out of Oregon.
Well, not so much. He ran, what, a 4.5?
Yeah, I know.
40. Don't let that 40 time tell his story.
That's what I wanted to say.
Because this kid plays fast. He plays bigger than what he is. I think he could be a nice snag in the later rounds for your fantasy football draft.
100%. Terry, we have Tech going to the Cowboys, unfortunately. But, yeah, guys, let me know what you think about that. That RJ Harvey take that Ben just gave. A lot of people are saying that he's comparable to Bucky Irving. Let me know what you think about that.
Even wears number 7 like him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
UCF running back, RJ Harvey, potentially the next Bucky Irving, late steal running back. Let me know what you guys think about that. Or let me know who your late steal running back is. Who do you like? We have a couple that we like, from Ollie Gordon to Caleb Johnson to
there's so many,
RJ
dude.
Harvey. We've named a few. Let us know who your guy is in the comments. Ben, did you have anything else that you wanted to cover for part 2 of the show today?
No, that was about it.
Cool. Guys,
So
make sure you check out part 1. That dropped yesterday.
definitely check out part 1.
Make sure you check that out. We got some crazy trades in there. And then we will see you Thursday, Friday, and part of Saturday. You might not see Ben for all of Saturday, but you'll see me for the NFL draft. We'll be live throughout the entire process, going over picks, getting your reaction, and hanging out with fans in the process. Until the next one, guys, peace out.
Peace.